Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the August NOAC Chamber Focus Series event. My name is Cindy Holzheimer. I am the President, CEO of the Northern Ohio Area Chambers of Commerce, that is NOAC for short. NOAC is an association of 130 chambers in Northern Ohio, and we provide cost-saving solutions for chambers to include in their member benefits. We also provide professional and organizational development for our chamber leaders. There are a lot of new faces on today's call. We thank Izzy for sharing her network with us, and we're so excited to have all of you with us this morning. So if you would, we're not going to get a chance to kind of go around the room and introduce ourselves. Put in the chat box what chamber you're with and where that's from. That way we can all get a chance to get to know each other. I would like to recognize some of the peers that we have in the room today, and that is the team here at NOAC. So if you're in the crowd today, just give us a quick wave when I call your name. We have Karen Schaefer, who is the NOAC Program Director. Missy McWhorter is our Board Chair. John Soboleski is our immediate past Chair. Karen Tursick is our Vice Chair. Tom Bennett is our Treasurer. Greg Church is our Secretary. And Rachel Weinkoop is our at-large position. So this morning, we are super excited to have Izzy West with us. And she's going to talk to us about using emails and website content to better build relationships with members and prospective members. I'm super excited. To introduce today's speaker, please help me welcome the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce of Sandusky County and NOAC Board Member, Rachel Weinkoop.
Hi, everyone. I am super excited to introduce Izzy. Izzy was kind enough about a year and a half ago to do a webinar similar to this for my chamber members. So I know you guys are going to get a ton out of this. So Izzy is a past chamber staffer of 7 years who recently started her own business, specifically helping chambers of commerce with digital marketing. Her services are somewhere in between a marketing agency and a virtual assistant, as she likes to actually take action and complete projects that will benefit the chamber in the long run, not just sell you expensive strategy sessions. No budget, no problem. She shares a variety of free tools, tips, and tutorials at theizzywest.com. So I would like to say, welcome, Izzy.
Thank you so much. I'm excited. I will say I am very interruptible. So if anybody has a question at any point, you can either unmute yourself or put it in the chat box and somebody else will interrupt me, and that's totally fine. I also love how much chamber people share with each other. So if you just have a great idea or a great example about anything we're talking about, again, feel free to throw it in the chat and share those awesome ideas with each other. That being said, I'm going to just go ahead and get started because I might have gone a little bit overboard with the amount of slides I did. So we're going to talk about mostly content marketing with emails and websites, specifically to build relationships with our members and our potential members. So right now, what most chambers probably have is a join page. Maybe if you have a little bit of extra help in the office, maybe you also have a benefits of membership and a pricing page. If you don't, please make those. Those are very basic, I believe. And then you probably have an email newsletter and maybe some member e-blasts. That's probably all the emails you're doing. And I don't want you to feel bad, but I asked this question to kind of get your brain going. Based on that, if that is all you have, if you were a business, would you be giving money to you? So if the answer is no, that's okay. We're going to get a lot of ideas to kind of help with that. And a lot of what I do with content marketing is I don't want 5 maybes. I want one person to say, yes, this is what I want, take my money. So I am not worried about trying to be everything to everybody in every post, every web page, whatever. I just want that one heck yes, because that is going to be my best member. So that's what we're going to try and focus on by having multiple types of content that we're putting out. But to kind of give you an overview very briefly, this is your actual digital marketing funnel, whether or not you know you have one. The light blue on the left is the traditional funnel where you just have the top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. But as a membership organization, that actually inverts, because after you convert a client or a member, yes, you will have a copy of the slides after the presentations. Don't worry, Mark. After you convert a new member, you want to build a relationship with them. I know most of you know that being a chamber, but some people need an aha if they're not in the industry. Obviously, you also want to retain that member, but then you're also hoping they love you so much that they are advocating for you on your behalf. But to get people in that inverted bottom of the funnel, we got to fill up the top part first. And one of the ways I like to do this is with content marketing. And so when you create content, you're basically trying to push somebody into the next stage of the funnel. So first you get people aware, and then you want to get them more interested in the chamber, and then you want to get them to consider joining the chamber, and then you want them to actually convert. So one blog post, one email might only be applicable to only one stage of the funnel, and that's fine. And to kind of go back to that, I don't want 5 maybes, I want one heck yes. We're going to have multiple separate pieces of content that speak to that one heck yes. Because if you're going too generic, then when you're trying to talk to everybody, if you're trying to not leave everybody out and you're like, no, I want this to be applicable. No, because when you're trying to talk to everyone, you're actually talking to no one, because nobody is hearing that heck yes. If I go out on the street and I say, hot dogs, come get your hot dogs, is anybody interested? No. But if I say, hey, is anybody here named Rachel? Do you work at a chamber? You're suddenly, Rachel that works at a chamber is suddenly very, very interested in me. And I am probably going to sell Rachel from a chamber a hot dog. So nothing I talk about is going to be ground baking. But to kind of reiterate that one piece, you specifically probably came to this webinar instead of others, even though all of this information is already out there and available. You came to this one because it is specific to chambers of commerce. So you already felt like this was going to be highly relevant to you. And that's what I want you to do with your web pages and your emails. So again, this is kind of a visual for the visual learners. On the left side, that's what most people do, is you're trying to talk to everybody. Well, you're not going to reach everybody when you're having that one generic, one size fits all message. So instead, we're going to try and create multiple messages that are more relevant, more specific. And when we do that, we're going to eventually reach more of those different types of people that we wanted in the first place, but we're going to do a better job of it. Because we're getting more heck yeses out of those multiple messages. Does that make sense? Thank you, Karen. I like seeing people nod. So again, I'm going to talk specifically about web pages and emails, and yes, you're going to get specific ideas and examples to take away, so don't worry. The first is actually your benefits of membership webpage. I hope you all have one of these, but not everybody has one that's very thorough. So yeah, go ahead and have one. Here's all of the benefits. You do want one roundup. Here's all of the things. Because your potential members want to know why they should join or what they get out of it. But even your current members, do they know how to take advantage of the different benefits you talk to them about? Is it written out for them, or do they have to go have a one-on-one conversation with you? That's what I like about web pages and email marketing, is I am trying to reduce the number of one-on-one conversations, and I'll take that conversation, but I put it online. So now I can have that same conversation, but on a one-to-many scale. So I'm telling more people the same very specific information. So I'm helping more people. So you probably want to have at least one. Yep, here's all of the things. But then you can have multiple different segments, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But to help you kind of wrap your mind around it, when somebody walks into the chamber office to join, you probably ask them what benefit do they want, or what are they most interested in? And yes, that's good if you can deliver on what they want, but many of them just don't know. They're like, I don't know, why do other people join the chamber? Like, I just heard it was a good idea. So they don't know what you offer or how you can benefit them. So having different elevator pitches ready. So you might have one that's for networking, one that seems like it's more marketing or just ROI based, depending on the type of person that you're talking to and what you kind of feel like they're interested in. And then if you don't have an elevator pitch already, or just even just a kind of guideline, like you don't have to memorize it. But if you're only talking about networking events to these people, then don't be surprised when they don't renew because they don't have time to attend events. I realize that's a concern for many of us, but if that's the only benefit you're talking about, then that's why it's going to eventually potentially hurt your retention if those people don't have the time for it. So you want to make sure you know your other benefits, that you can talk about them freely and very quickly off the top of your brain. So like I said, you can have one main benefits of membership webpage where you round up all of the different details, section amount, this is relevant to advertising, this is relevant to events, da, da, da. But once you have those different elevator pitches where you kind of got a feel for it, then you can use each of those to create additional separate benefits of membership web pages. So on the roundup, you might explain everything, but you might say, hey, we have a lot of advertising, like bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, click this link to learn more. And when they click on that, maybe that's where I detail out the specifics of here are the dates, here are the deadlines, here are the specs that I need, where it's a longer, more in-depth thing. Sorry, I'm coming back. So we already talked about that. So detail out, yeah, so this helps your potential and your current members, but this also helps your staff, your board of directors, because you're telling them to go promote these benefits, but do they remember all of the details? Chances are probably not. That's totally normal. That's fine. But if they don't have easy access to go double check this information, then how do you expect them to memorize everything? So again, you're just trying to make everything easy for all of your people. Like, here's the information. That's all we're trying to do. Just think of it like customer service. Here you go. Here it is. And you're just like tossing out information via web pages. And here's again, oh, I'm just going to jump around. It's fine. So here's another way to think of those more specific web pages. So each of these boxes would be an individual web page. So I probably have one, here's all of the benefits of membership. That's probably going to have the most traffic. But then I can segment out my different elevator pitches or the different things that we do based on a topic. You might have some of these, but not all of them. You might have all or different ones. It just depends on what your chamber is good at and what you focus on. I had a lot of small businesses that were really tied to ROI. They wanted the ROI of their membership. So I had a web page with, here's how our members can save money. And that was just all of our affinity programs. It was the Constant Contact deal. It was the Office Depot. It was a link to our member-to-member deals. If you have Chamber Master, it's just the roundup. All right, yep, here you go, save money. We love it. Again, being marketing staff, I also did a lot of marketing opportunities, but you get a lot of questions. So I used this as the home base. Here's all of these specifics, this specs, the ad sizes, here's the deadlines. Here I tell them if it's free or included in membership or if it's an upcharge. Again, any specific details. Even if it was already free with membership, again, you're putting it in writing so they can easily access it. If you happen to do a lot of community programs, even if it's, citywide festivals, just anything that you do, that you think people should know, hey, this is what the chamber does. It doesn't have to always be a true benefit of membership related to money. So we had 2 festivals in the shoulder season of our tourist season and our local tourism economy. These created a $4.25 million economic impact. And this is not money the chamber makes. This is money that our local small businesses make. So we had a webpage just about here are the festivals. This is why it matters. This is why we spend time on this. But again, they don't know that if you don't talk about it. I also had another webpage that literally was just called bragging rights. And, I had one photo for the festival, but then was like, hey, just so you know, we actually are the ones that maintain those medians and come mow it once a quarter because the county government's not going to do that. They come out once a year. We also do those, we pay for the electricity for those street lights because safety is important. Any little community thing, yes, please brag about yourselves. Not enough chambers brag. So I'm definitely giving you permission to do so. And then you probably should have at least one page on advocacy. If you have an annual plan or legislative priorities, you would include that here. But also, again, bragging, sharing any wins. Did you have a meeting with somebody important? Were you part of a coalition with other chambers, and you took something to your senators and said, hey, this is important to our businesses? If the answer is yes, do people know you did it? So even if it's old, have that history of here's some important advocacy efforts the chamber did and why we are important. We tell businesses we work for a strong business local economy, but are we sharing those wins with them? So anything else that you think is relevant to the chamber mission, to benefits of membership, you can have individual web pages for all of these. And then when you're doing other stuff, instead of sending them just hey, here's the link to join, you can say, here's the specific web page that's relevant to the conversation that we talked about one-on-one. If after a one-on-one conversation, they walked in, if it was at a networking event, or if I'm writing another blog post and I'm talking about social media tips for businesses. At the bottom of that, instead of saying, hey, join the chamber, I'll say, hey, here's a list of all the marketing opportunities our members get. You should check this list out. So I'm still talking about joining the chamber, but it's much more relevant to the other content on that webpage. Deep breath. And then something else I like to point out is most of these I probably would put in my menu somewhere on my webpage. But if you have really specific ones, like if you get into segmenting your audience and you're like, all right, here's our benefits of membership, but here's our benefits if you're a small business owner, or here's our benefits if you're a bank manager or just something else specific. You don't have to put them in your website menu if you don't want to. You just need to be able to know where to access them. But if you do kind of want it, but not really, here's another example of what some other businesses do. So GlueUp is a CRM like Chamber Master. And one way that they're showing benefits, but they're segmenting it, is they have a list of per industry. So obviously we're going to go click on the button that says Chambers of Commerce because that's much more relevant to us. But are all of these industry options in their top menu? No, probably not, because that would be really long and overwhelming. So that's fine. And so you could put it in the footer if you wanted, but you don't even have to do that as long as you know where to access it and you link to it when it's relevant. So I like to put different ideas in your minds. And so just you can keep the ones you like and ignore the ones you don't. Don't worry about it. I can tell Jenny is scribbling furiously over there. I'm trying to give her hand a break. All right. So some other specific web pages, in addition to specialized benefit web pages, is just having other website content. This could be other random web pages. This could be blog posts, FAQ roundups, anything that could possibly interest your members, your prospects, or any other part that's important to you and your mission, like your local community, or if you're a tourism area, like visitors. And I'm going to give you a few specific examples. The first one is keyword tools like Google Search Console or Ubersuggest for ideas. And then that's going to be super overwhelming because it's technical. So then we're going to talk about FAQs from real people. And then we're not going to talk about it, but I just like to give the tip. If you decide to run paid ads in the future, like Google ads or Facebook ads, instead of saying, hey, anybody that visited our website, you can say, hey, anybody that visited our web pages that specifically talked about joining benefits, these specific pages that are more relevant to members, I might target those web pages instead of the whole website. So that's just another benefit of having really specific web pages, is you can better target or retarget that audience later on. So Google Search Console is a free thing that is a pain to get set up, but once it's done, it is done. And I like it because we all want to be seen as a local resource. Because of that, we probably want to show up in Google as much as relevantly possible so people find us. And then to show up in Google more, we need to start ranking for relevant keywords and phrases to do that. And so to help rank for more keywords, we have to create specific web pages. So this is what it looks like when you log into Google Search Console. I don't even know how to use all of the tools. The one that I like is underneath performance and queries. These are keywords or key phrases that people are typing into Google that I'm at least ranked for. It may not be very high. I might not be on page 1, but it gives me the short list of, hey, these are probably the words that I should use on my web page to try and show up in Google for. So I can either edit my existing web pages or I can create new web pages based on Google search. And this is just, again, an example, but closer, so it's easier to see. This is for the Reidsville Chamber in North Carolina. On the right, we see impressions. So that means there's a lot of people Googling that. I probably want to go after it. And then the more clicks we have, the more people are literally clicking through to our listing in the Google search. So if the number is very different, maybe I want to work on those web pages so I convert more people. And otherwise, it's just still more ideas. So how do we actually do that? Well, here's that list on the left-hand side of all those random words. They already have a web page for utilities on their website. So what I did was I just edited this web page, and you can see it's the same information. I'm still just giving them the contact information, but I've used headers, which is like chapter titles. That's just the big words at the top. And I've used these words that were really popular to make those section titles. That's all I did. So it's all of the same information, but instead of saying just utilities, I said, hey, here are Reidsville, North Carolina utilities. Here's the City of Reidsville Water Department. Here's our City of Reidsville NC trash pickup. And it might be awkward to say, but that is literally how it was searched for in Google. So I'm just trying to find ways to incorporate these words, these phrases into that very relevant web page, which was already useful information that I wanted to provide to my community. So that is a little bit more involved. It's called on-page SEO if anybody decides they really want to go down that rabbit hole. For the rest of us, so if you're kind of zoned out because that was technical, this is the time you can come back. But this part is so easy and it's so doable, but if I don't give you hard technical things, you won't believe me and you won't listen to it. So here are the things that, if nothing else, you can do. And that is simply answer specific questions that your new and potential members are already asking you, whether it's over the phone, an email, at an event. Take note, what are all these common questions people are asking? And then just create a web page based on it. So that might be, how does my business save money through membership? Maybe make a blog post of top chamber benefits, even if you're too busy to attend events. Any other public FAQs you get on the phone. I used to always get, hey, how do I get a city residential parking pass? And I had that same question over and over on the phone. I was like, all right, well, we're going to make a social media post and we're going to make a blog post because I'm tired of getting this question. And that's fine because it's like customer service. I am still helping my community. I'm giving the information, but by creating a web page for it, I'm able to have that one-on-one conversation with many people, but I'm saving staff time. So instead of me having to have 200 conversations, I'm having maybe 5, and then I go, okay, here you go, other 200 people. So I'm still helping them, but I'm also creating website traffic. And when you create website traffic, you're better able to show the other resources that the chamber has, like your members. And then any other questions you just think you might get. So it might be local community centers. What are our utilities? And any of the random walk-in questions people are asking. Bye, Jenny. Anything people are randomly asking you, create a web page for it, create a social media post for it. And then any other web pages that interest locals and visitors that could benefit your members. So weddings and event planning and your city name. You can promote any of your members that are doing wedding services, event planning, the local balloon people, the catering company, any event venues. And if you don't have time, you could just say, hey, here's a link to our business directory, but link to the specific categories. So instead of saying just the business directory, say, hey, here's a link to all of our event venue members. Here's a link to all of our caterers. So you're still giving them specific information, but they're not having to wade through as much detail. And then another example was for a blog post. You might have somebody write an article. You might have the member write the article of what to know before you hire a plumber in Newport News, Virginia. And then at the bottom of that, you say, hey, by the way, here's some great plumbers in Newport News, Virginia. And you just link to that specific category of membership. And then in the chat, Cindy asked where we'd house the public FAQ on the website. And that just depends on what it is and how relevant it is. So if you think it's timely and it's going to be old after a while, you might just make a blog post, or you might make a news release that kind of dies after a little while, and that's fine. If it's super relevant, you might put it under a tab like locals, members, visitors. So for locals, we had history would have been one of these types of content I'm talking about. Our relocation guide was a standalone web page. Under visitors, we might see, here's our festival, here's the destination weddings I was talking about. We apparently did one for group sales, I don't even remember. So it just kind of depends on what the topic is. So some of these go in the menu, other ones may not, but even if they're not in the menu, they're searchable on Google, which is nice. And then again, you might still link to them. So let's see. All right, so Reedsville Chamber in North Carolina has, pretty sure. So in their menu, Reedsville Chamber has one called See Reedsville, and then they link to a bunch of things that are very relevant to the webpage. But this is a lot of links, and I may not necessarily want all of them in the menu. So I can say, hey, here's more of a roundup that is still providing the top level information, but I don't want to overwhelm my menu, but I can still, as a website visitor, I can click through to something really specific like the Veterans Memorial Park. Is that so important to the chamber to have in the menu? No, but we just wanted to provide the information. So the web page exists, and I just linked to it on a more popular or web page that is more relevant to more people, I guess. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you, Cindy. I tend to get down into the weeds too much. Okay. Any other questions related to web pages before I move on to emails? All right, I'm going to take that as a no. And if anybody wants to type in the chat, what is a web page you think you might create going forward sometime in the near future that will maybe benefit you, or that you just thought was interesting, of like, oh yeah, I should totally make that information easily accessible. And then you can see what everybody else put as well. So next I'm going to talk about emails. And I'm going to kind of talk about lead magnets, which are aimed at a really specific target audience. And this is, I'll explain it in a minute. But basically it's going to be an automated email that's highly targeted. Yes, I love FAQ pages. And then I'm also going to talk about broadcast emails that benefit both current and potential members. And a broadcast email is just any mass email that is not automated and is like not a newsletter. So if I just emailed everybody today, I'm like, oh, by the way, I just thought of this really useful information, or by the way, we're having a sale. Any just random one-off email, broadcast email. So don't worry too much about the specific details. So whoops. With that broadcast email, think about some individual emails you could send once a month if you have time, once a quarter if you don't. It's okay. You can scale it according to how much staff time you have to put towards these. But what's an email that you could send out that is just providing valuable or interesting information that's not your newsletter? So you might, these are again specific examples, you might highlight one single specific benefit of membership because that helps both your current and your prospective members. So you might share FAQs about a large upcoming community event like a festival, whether or not it's yours. But again, if it's a question you're getting phone calls about, just tell everybody about it. It's fine. You might share the content of a blog post or article you already have, but instead of making them linked or click through it to click it in your newsletter, which I would still do, you might have another standalone email that you've literally copy and pasted the entire article, particularly one that did really well or was really popular that a lot of people liked. And this is helping create value because they just got that. They opened their email box and they're like, oh, here's just some really useful information from the chamber. That was great. Like that was the whole interaction with them. But now they have positive feelings about the chamber because it was just useful. They didn't have to do anything, they didn't have to buy anything, they didn't have to click through or go find it. It was just, here you go. Have a great day. You could also feature a local nonprofit, particularly if they're a chamber member, or you could spotlight your milestone members. So with the nonprofit, let's also take that a step further. I know April Bragg is here. If you ever want to learn how to make money, she's your girl. But what if you decided to do a series of emails featuring nonprofits? But what if we get it sponsored by a mission-driven business? Or what if you just include, if you have a chamber champions or a president circle that has like all the bunch of logos, what if you just include that at the bottom of those emails? Because we're providing another occasion for those businesses, for their brand to be associated with something positive and community focused. So we're helping spotlight the nonprofit, people like us, because we're talking about nonprofit, but then we're also helping those specific members or sponsors be associated with that positivity. With milestone members, this might be your 5, 10, 15, 25, kind of depends on how long your chamber's been in business. You might just say, throw out an extra email, say, hey, we just want to thank all these members for being around in the chamber for 15 years. And you just link to their business directory, and that's all. That's the whole email. But they're going to be so thankful because they got a free spotlight in a mass email by the chamber. Something similar that I did is we used to try and put all of our newest chamber members in our newsletter, but it took a while to do, if I'm being honest. And so instead, what I ended up doing was I started doing a quarterly email. And once a quarter, I just rounded up, said, all right, here's all of our newest members. And that actually was easier on me, even though I was sending an extra email. It made it a lot more efficient and quicker for me to finish my newsletter. So I was still able to provide all the information people wanted, but I was able to make my newsletter process more efficient and save some staff time. All right. So I said I would mention lead magnets, and this is what a lead magnet is. If you've ever seen something where it's like, hey, we'll give you this totally free PDF, just give me your email address. That is a lead magnet. That is all it is. So anytime somebody sees your ad and goes to your landing page, and then they fill out their contact information, and then they immediately get access to that free thing, that is a lead magnet. And if you put out specific ones, you will now have a list of people that you know is interested in something specific. And it just depends on whatever the lead magnet you provided. So for example, yeah, we'll do this one. I think ribbon cuttings. Oh, she added a logo. Here we go. All right, so we're on the chamber website. Here's the ad. It says, hey, here's a free checklist of how to plan the grand opening of your business. When I click on it, I go to a constant contact landing page and I input my information. So now this chamber knows that here is a contact list of people that are probably new in business, but they've made it further enough along that they're either opened or ready to open. And this is like a hot list of people to send my sales team after of, hey, these are your potential members, go talk to them, go help them. So with lead magnets, I like them because they're scalable. That ad is on that website 24/7, 365. It doesn't go away. But I can also put that ad in other web places, like other blog posts. If I have if I have a blog post that says, hey, if you're hosting an event, here's some vegan ideas of different vegan finger foods you could have at your networking event or whatever it is. And at the bottom, I say, by the way, get our free checklist for ribbon cuttings. And so I can have that on multiple web pages, which is the blue boxes at the top. All of those web pages are going to drive traffic to my lead magnet. And then I'm going to collect those contacts and I can then put them into an automated email series that maybe promotes membership. So with that example, I might say, hey, here's other marketing opportunities. Here's other events. Here's other ways for you to host events as a chamber member. So I'm able to be more specific if I want to be. And then if you remember this picture, or okay, that was one message that I just told you about, but we want more messages so we can get to more people. So now we're going to create more lead magnets. We're going to promote these on more web pages. So we're going to have all of these. It does take time at first to set up, but after a while, you have all of these automated conversations happening with potential members, with current members, visitors, whatever you're talking about in those emails. You're having all of these automated conversations that are funneling people through the next stage of your marketing funnel. So you're just like, here's the free thing. We're building the relationship because I've given them something free that is useful. But then I'm also saying, hey, here's a highly relevant benefit of membership based on something you were already interested in. And so after a while, this can help us promote membership and gain new members, even when the office is closed, even when we're sick in bed. So I really like anything that I can automate it. And yes, it does, again, take time up front because you got to create all the lead magnets, you got to create all the landing pages, you got to go put the ads in places. But for me, this is a long-term strategy plan. Oh, I did have another one. So again, now we've had multiple relevant messages by either having multiple lead magnets, by even just having the multiple web pages that talk about those interesting, valuable things, whether they're in the community, whether it's a benefit of membership, or whether it's just a useful blog post. It doesn't matter what the topic is. It's just the fact that it's a specific topic that is highly relevant to the people in your audience. And then I talked about promoting membership 24/7, 365. This is more of something I want you to go home and do. This is more of homework of, okay, if you're gonna make a lead magnet, who is that lead magnet aimed towards? And then what is most relevant to the people that it's aimed towards? So if I'm looking at solopreneurs, they probably are, tight on money because they're brand new or they're by themselves, and every dollar they spend is a dollar less that they take home. So they probably want to save money. They probably don't have time for a lot of events because they're already trying to figure out everything on their own. And ROI is really important to them. So I'm probably not going to talk about advocacy to the solopreneurs, but I am going to talk about how to save money. Here's how we provide a return on investment for our members. Here are the marketing opportunities. Here's what we're just doing for you already. Or you might be putting out a lead magnet or a blog post that say, hey, here's 35 social media ideas for any brick and mortar business. Well, the person that downloads that might be marketing staff. And so if you're marketing staff, you probably want to look good in front of your boss. You probably want marketing specific opportunities and blog posts. You probably just want to be able to say, hey, look at the great things I did. And they get their pat on the back, and you were able to engage that specific representative at that business. Or you might kind of look for more community-minded members. These are probably bigger companies or that are very mission-driven, mission-focused, or it might be a bank manager that, yeah, they don't love to spend a whole lot of money, but they probably have more of a budget than our small business is. So for them, they probably want to get their brand in front of the community. They're mission-driven. They're interested in community leadership. They want to be able to give back somehow. So I might talk about volunteer opportunities. I might talk about being a sponsor for a business expo. I might talk about our leadership program more often to this list of people. So this is more relevant to segmenting your audience. I do have a blog post on that. I also really like Kathy Height has an excellent everything related to audience segmentation where she goes into much more detail than this, but I at least wanted to have one page to kind of get you thinking about it. Or you can kind of copy the table chart and go think about it on your own and be like, all right, what is a free and easy lead magnet, which again, I have a list on my website for you. And then what is relevant to those people and how can I promote relevant benefits of membership to those people? So like I said, I have some relevant blog posts if you download the PDF, which will be in the email that Cindy sends out with the recording, I have links to it for you, specifically segmenting your audience and even how to create lead magnets, where I literally walk you through step by step. If you have constant contact, I go, here's what this means, here's what this is, click this button. So I talk it all out for you. It's totally free. These are free blog posts. So you can click for each of these blog posts, but basically once you have your general foundation set, like your main benefits webpage we talked about, once you have those big foundations of the most important things, then you can focus your marketing efforts on maybe one specific target audience. So maybe we're not going to talk to all three of these people at one time, and that's okay. You're going to pick the one that is most important to you right now. And you're going to say, okay, how can I create content that best helps my community-minded members and potential members? And you're only going to think about those people for a while. Do you still serve the other people? Yes, that is fine. We are still serving our other businesses, but we can focus our marketing, just like a marketing campaign, we're just going to focus our marketing for a little bit on one target audience, and that is totally okay. Cool. So we've added some potential content marketing to our list. So we should have a join page, we should have a benefits page, but now we might have more specific different types of benefits pages or groups of benefits to further supplement our benefits page, or to create more landing pages that would be really relevant to other people that are looking for information. You should have a pricing page. If you don't already, please create a pricing page. It's just transparency. Personally, I won't do anything if I don't know what the price is beforehand. And no, I'm not going to talk to a sales rep. I'm an introverted millennial. Don't call me. And then I also included a link to an ROI calculator. You could totally do it yourself, but that is actually a specific software, and I've partnered with them. If you decide you want to hire them, if you tell them Izzy sent you, they'll give you $100 off. But they have some examples, but it's just literally an interactive calculator. And you can go to that chamber's website and say, I'm interested in marketing, but not networking. And it goes, great. The value of your membership is like $5,000. And then it spits out like a little list of specific things with dollar signs attached to them. So even if you don't want to spend money on it, I just thought it was cool. For emails, yes, we have our newsletter, but you also want to make sure that it's open to your non-member subscribers if you're not already. I promise you, receiving your newsletter is not a benefit of membership. How many emails do you have in your inbox right now? 30,000. Nobody cares. So let people get your emails. If you can, try to segment them, because then you can send less emails, but more to the right people, which is going to increase your open rates. It's going to decrease your unsubscribes, and people are just going to like you more. So on our website, like C. Reedsville, I don't know if you saw it earlier, but there was like a pop-up that join our email list. And the people on that actually go to an email list called public or something, just very generic. But for those people, yes, I send them my newsletter, but I don't send them our upcoming chamber events because they probably don't care about our networking events. But I might send them local information, like here's our upcoming Freedom Fest or big festival or community event or movie in the park, whatever community-minded things you have, because it's more relevant to them. But if I send them business after hours, they're going to unsubscribe. Sorry, I get off topic. So again, the benefits-based emails, any of the broadcast emails we talked about, setting up lead magnets and targeted potential member drip campaigns, and then also doing a new member onboarding. Because as much as we want to attract new members, if you can't retain your members, then why are you bothering to get new members? And I say that very lovingly, don't get me wrong. But before you spend all of your very limited staff time, because I know how busy you are and how many billion things you're trying to do in one day, I would look at your member retention first, and excluding the outliers of people that are out of business or COVID happened, that's fine. But are you retaining that people that you think you could have if just something if you would have just done this thing better, or if they would have known about that? And so one way to do that is to, one, have and use a new member checklist, ensure it has multiple touch points, onboard not just new members, but also new representatives of current members. So if you ever get those new contacts, Do you just add them to the email list, or you say, hey, welcome to the chamber family. I know the business has been here for a while, but you might be new to the chamber. So here's some information you might like to know. How many of us kind of forget to do that? Because again, you have 30,000 priorities. I get it. But just keeping that in mind for whoever puts them into Chamber Master, send them their own welcome email, add them to the member onboarding. You can set up an automated email drip campaign with timeless, useful information. I'm actually hosting a live group course on this, so that one would be a paid thing that I'm doing that's actually coming up. And at the end, if you sign up for my email list using the link, I'm actually offering 15% off for you guys. But you also don't need me to do that. You can just go Google how to set up an automated email drip campaign in Constant Contact. And then you say, okay, here are some emails that I think are going to be relevant to all of my members, no matter when they're joining, no matter when they're reading this. And then make sure you're also adding, again, those new representatives, not just the new members, to that automated campaign. And then you can also consider a virtual orientation alternative, like a series of specific YouTube videos that they can access 24/7, 365. And yeah, you might repurpose those videos into your email drip campaign, but you're also, again, just making the information available to your members 24/7, 365, even though the chamber staff is super busy. So here is a playlist I made on our YouTube. It's all just excerpts from our member orientation that I did on Zoom, and I just kind of cut it out and was like, here are the specific parts. So I made my boss do a quick welcome. What is a chamber and how your business can benefit? Then I kind of talk about the benefits, but then I say, hey, here's how to register for an online event. Here are the bragging rights that I told y'all about earlier. Like, hey, we sponsor the farmers market. It would not exist if we did not give them money. Like, here's how to update your business directory, because you get that question every once in a while. And you're kind of thankful for it, but that's a 20-minute conversation. So you go, here is the how to, here you go. It's available 24/7, 365. Yes, it benefits the chamber, but again, I look at content marketing as an arm of customer service. I am making this information available to the people that would want it, and they don't need me to be waiting by the phone to give it to them. So what is something, you can put it in the chat, what is something that your chamber does that helps with member retention? I want to see at least 3 answers before I move on. And they can't be from Rachel because she already responded. While I'm waiting on 3 brave people to talk about, oh, great. Yeah, Karen goes out and visit. That is super important, especially to our small business members. And yes, I know they always say, nobody ever comes and sees us. And you're like, I was there 2 days ago. What are you talking about? I know it still happens, but it still makes such a big difference to them. Oh, great. Yep. Greg also does the personal touch points. Michelle Hedberg also checks in with them to see what they need. You can also, this is actually something that I will teach in my member onboarding, is in Chamber Master. As soon as somebody joins, I instantly schedule an email that will go to them in 6 months. And all it says is, hey, it's Izzy, just checking in. You need anything? Have any questions? That's all it is. And I get responses and they're like, nobody cares about us as much as you do. Or no, I've just been busy, but thank you so much for checking in. But I scheduled that 6 months ago. I forgot I did it. I don't even know who that person is, but now they're in my inbox. Oh, Debbie already uses onboarding emails. Ooh, so everybody go stalk Debbie and go see what she sends out. Yes, April's online community, Robins to Go, has been a huge benefit to our existing members, and they love that proud member stamp whenever they post. So she has a public group that promotes their local businesses. And whenever a business posts about them, if they're a chamber member, April's staff actually goes and comments on that post with like a logo that says proud chamber member. So they get that brand recognition of being a chamber member, but it also boosts that post up higher because people have now commented and engaged with that post. And she also makes money off of that group. So also stalk April. Libby does surveys and visits. We might need to learn from Libby how to do a successful survey. I don't know about y'all, I get like 3 responses. Caroline has her member community welcome them all over our social media platforms. Yes, a very easy and scalable way to talk to them, but also kind of just recognize them publicly. That does not take a lot of time and money. So I appreciate all of those great ideas and for engaging with me. Because member retention begins the moment they hand you their first check. As soon as they walk in and give you their check, member retention has already started. So just try to think about what you're doing that is getting them to want to retain. Because as soon as they hand the check, you're already going to have to start convincing them to give you another check next year. So deep thought. So that was my presentation. What I would like you to do first is to write down what is one thing, just one thing. I know I talked about a lot. What is one thing you're going to take action on and start in the next week? It could be creating one specific web page. It could be a new email idea you want to go ahead and draft out. Just write down one thing that you know you want to do that will help you. You can put it in the chat if you're brave, but you don't have to. I'm just telling you if you have homework.
Hey, Izzy, I have a question.
Yeah.
Because the segmenting your emails.
Mm-hmm.
So we use Constant Contact, and I have like a general list of over 1,000 contacts. Do I need to go back in and try to segment those out, or just start from whoever's new coming in?
I would just start with whoever's new. You'll find I'm a very big fan of staff time and saving staff time. I'm just already exhausted thinking about a chamber to-do list. So I'm more of maybe going forward, the email list on the public sign up on the chamber website now goes to either a general or a public or just vaguer one. Something else you can do, especially if you have Constant Contact, when you add a link in an email to Constant Contact, there's a button that says add to segment. And you can create one that says clicked local events, clicked networking events, clicked advocacy. And those are going to be really, really small lists. Like you're going to have like 10 people instead of 100 people. But that gives you a specific segment of when you kind of want to send out a list or an email, but you don't want to send it quite to everybody because you know most people don't care or just would unsubscribe because it's just not relevant to everybody. That gives you a very specific targeted list like, oh, this is relevant to them. And so you can actually do that even in your welcome email as soon as they join. You could do that in your newsletters going forward. Let me see. Yeah, we have a few minutes. Sorry, I have to move my stuff around so I can see what I'm doing. Just do that. There we go. I did it for... Sorry, I work for a lot of chambers right now. I feel like I want Montgomery. There we go, that one. All right, so campaign. We're gonna look for email automations. We're gonna look for welcome. Okay, this is her automated welcome list that goes to anybody that signs up on her website. So she's not super sure if they're in the community or if like a random person versus a business. So we decided, hey, here's all of the top topics people ask us about. So they can click to learn about the chamber, they can click to learn about advocacy. And when they do, there's an email list they get added to that says clicked advocacy. Education is very big on them, business engagement. So all of these can say clicked and then that specific topic, but then we know that is a business probably at least. But then she also just, hey, here's some local news and community events. And all of these get added to one that says clicked local or clicked individual, any kind of generically specific one. So these people will get the newsletter still. Everybody gets the newsletter, but these are the ones we won't send them chamber events, but we will send them about information about the parade. Or if there's a member e-blast going out that's B2C, business to consumer, they'll still get those. But if it's a business to business one, maybe they don't get that email blast. So she is just slowly building up those automated segments every time somebody joins. And no, you're not going to get everybody. I would be surprised if you ever got 100% of anything. But over a while, and this is still new, but after a while, you will eventually start to have that really specific segment. And then, actually, are there any other questions first before I go off on another tangent?
Let me, if you don't mind, Izzy, let me do a couple quick closing announcements, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to check real quick. All right, so let me make sure I have the right screen up here. I'm sure. There we go. All right, so real quick, I know I have notes everywhere right now. I'm so excited to get started on a few of these things. So such great advice. I'm so excited. But real quick, for closing out, so we have partnered again this year with the U.S. Chamber Institute of Organization Management, and we're doing a partial scholarship for first-year students. So if you've been thinking about going, we can help out with tuition for that. There are 4 sites that are available. I'm an IOM graduate, so is Izzy. I know there's some others on the call here too. It's a very exceptional program to be able to go through. It really it helps management skills, and you learn industry specific practices, all kinds of really great stuff. So my information's on here. For our NOAC chambers, if you are interested in going, reach out to me. The deadline to fill out the applications for the scholarship is September 16th, so that it will be fast approaching. Our next Chamber Focus Series event is going to be September 15th, and we're going to go back to a group discussion for this one. So we're going to talk about current trends and what your chamber is doing to stay current and what you're seeing out there post-pandemic. How are things going? What can we help with? We're also going to be doing chamber check-ins. So bring your own topic with you that you want to talk to chamber peers about. The Focus Series, all of these events are free. So all of our guests that are on here today, please feel free to sign up and attend. We are a very collaborative group. We love to learn what's going on in chambers across the country and just really learn and grow from each other. We always appreciate that. So if you have any more questions for Izzy, go ahead and stay on. But again, we want to thank Izzy for the presentation today. It was just amazing. I wrote so many notes. And again, thank you for joining us today. We hope you have a really great day.